Today, I wanted to talk about planning a portfolio. So this is pretty good for, anybody who's kind of in the creative industry. It doesn't have to be just graphic design. You could be an artist or whatever, but we'll see how this all goes. Planning a portfolio. Portfolios communicate accomplishments, works in progress, personal history. You determine the audience, goals, and structure of your portfolio and organize the portfolio's content by creating a flow chart. So, what is the concept of a portfolio? What is its purpose and its audience? Consider the following. What are the goals of a particular portfolio? What does a portfolio contain? Would it contain professional experiences, coursework? How do you use a portfolio to communicate ideas? What could you use to communicate these ideas? For examples, shots, images, project examples. What are the long-term and short-term goals of a portfolio? Who is the audience for the portfolio? What situation are you creating the portfolio for? Are you using it to get into school, get an internship, a job interview, whatever, So, types of portfolios. There are several different types of portfolios. The type of portfolio you decide upon serve different purposes and help attain your desired results. The results you're looking for depend on the purpose of your portfolio and the audience you're trying to reach. Consider the following types of portfolio. Print portfolios. Traditional design portfolios are often put together in a high quality book or binder. If the design work is best showcased in the printed form, this may be an ideal portfolio format. And when I say high quality, you really don't want to go with something very cheap, especially like if you have like one of those books that you buy from Staples that's 11 by 17 that has like something like 40 different sleeves in it, and you only use like 10, and then somebody's flipping through it and all of a sudden they like reach the end and then you have all these blank pages. It's kind of a letdown in a sense, but you also don't want to fill it with 40 things because that's too much. So, take some time, investigate. I use like a Pratt portfolio, 11 by 17, and it has inserts so I can add as many as I want. The sleeves themselves are made out of polypropylene, which is archival. So that means that it doesn't ruin the work. But there's all kinds of things you can look at. You can research online and such. Web portfolios are ideal for frequently updating content that includes videos and interactive media, online content, as well as photography and graphics. They can take several forms. So, community portfolio. Sites like Behance allow designers to very quickly create a portfolio of projects and get feedback from the community of designers. Community portfolios allow for direct networking with potential collaborators, clients, or employers. So, like a Behance one is just one example. There's several different kind of sites out there that you can build your portfolio, just showcasing your work online. I mentioned Behance because an agency actually was looking through Behance and found me and discovered me, and that's how I ended up doing some work on like Pepsi, for example. So, it's good, in a way to get yourself out there that way. A portfolio website. That's a custom website where a designer can post projects about information, content, information, and integrate social media is an ideal way to market oneself. So at least with this version, like a portfolio website, you can tailor it more, customize it to more of what you want. Portfolio features. Portfolios, regardless of the type, share similar features. Some things you may think about including in their portfolios are portfolio introduction that explains your skill set, training, projects, included in the portfolio, career interests and goals, and any professional experience. An image or representative visual to use on the welcome page of your portfolio. Narrative introductions to each project explaining the ways your work highlights your skills. Like you could also include case studies in this, for example, like how it attained the goals of the client or the project. Narrative introductions including specific examples comparing your skills with the career area you are interested in. A learning plan that identifies skills or concepts you might be lacking at this point, but would want to learn about and focus on in the future. So, you may know just a little bit of front-end coding, but you might want to explore that further and get better at it or faster or whatever it is. A photography gallery of images to link to your work, a downloadable version or portions of an online portfolio. So how to plan a portfolio. Once you have considered the goals and objectives of your portfolio, defined an audience for your portfolio, and chosen a portfolio format, you're ready to plan your portfolio content, design, and flow. Use the following best practices to help you in the planning process. Now, when I'm talking about defining an audience, it's really important because you want to focus your portfolio on where you want to be and who you want to, work for example. So like take a look at like any place that you want to work for and see the work that they're doing. You want to kind of plan your work to be on par with theirs, better if you could, but at least show that you can do the work. Like if they do if the agency, for example, does a lot of, I don't know, we'll just say like liquor, for example, and they do a lot of work for different brands of like craft beers or whatever. So you want to kind of make sure that you focus and put that kind of work in there. It doesn't have to be the exact same brand or the agency that works on like their clients, but you can do other ones so that they can see that you are capable of doing these things. So portfolio content selection. What's the purpose of the portfolio? How does the purpose affect the type of content you include? So these are things to think about, right? Who's the audience of the portfolio for? Will this affect the content you should include? Can you identify any gaps in the portfolio? So are you missing anything that that they would want to see? How will the portfolio change over time? Or how might you design different versions of the portfolio to target different audiences? So, you have to think about how are you going to evolve this later on, like when you're going to need to. If you have a portfolio, is the current content relevant to the purpose and audience? If not, what should you remove and what other projects should you include? Does the portfolio have a narrative? What story is this work trying to tell? What order should the work be in? So you have to also kind of think of the hierarchy of the work as well. Where will the portfolio be? If the portfolio is a website that can be accessed by anyone, make sure you think about your personal information. What should you include or exclude? Since a portfolio may be seen by anyone, like, do you really want your phone number on there? Do you want people calling you that you don't even know? You have to really think about this. Or, for example, where you live, you don't want anybody stalking you. Are there any spelling errors, punctuation errors, or grammatical errors? As designers or artists, we're pretty notorious for that kind of stuff. We're really bad at spelling, math, even, so we have to make sure that, get another set of eyes on there just to look it over, just to make sure that it's right. Portfolio design, uniformity, and consistency. Are design elements repeated on the page to help identify the portfolio as complete and that it belongs together? And I'm not talking about the actual work, but how it's showcased or put together. It's almost like you have to think of yourself as your own brand, that it all matches, Like imagine if I was using like 20 different fonts in this presentation, it wouldn't look like it belonged together. Each page would look like something completely different. So you want to make sure that you keep a uniformity there and maintain like a consistency. Universal navigation. So this would apply for digital. So where's the navigation for the portfolio? And does it appear universally? Like you don't want the navigation to move around on different pages so that people get lost. They have to know how to navigate. Layout. Is the layout logical, or do elements appear to be placed randomly? You really have to think about the user experience, even in like a print portfolio. How are they going to read this left to right? Is the iFlow going the right way? Links, this is for digital. Are links labeled clearly? They need to know where they're going. Usability. Are portfolio visitors able to find information easily? If it's online, does the portfolio load quickly? And this is kind of a hard thing because a lot of us as designers or artists will use we want things to look as good as we can, but we have to think about the bandwidth that it uses. Like when you upload something that's large, is it taking too long to load? If somebody's looking at it on their phone, is it going to take way too long? Are they going to leave because it takes too long? So you have to find a healthy kind of compromise there. Readability is the formatting that improves or reduces readability. So make sure that it reads well. Accessibility. Are all images labeled with alternative text? So that's for online, alt tags. So, Google search engines all search engines will read alt tags to find out, oh, this is a picture of a wallet or whatever. So it has an alt tag of a wallet. Are the text and titles clear and easy to read for all viewers? Color, size, and so on. And this is really important, especially with accessibility nowadays. You don't want font sizes to be too small, etc. What features can or cannot be read by screen readers? So these are things to consider. Interactive media. This is also on digital. How can interactive media be used to enhance the portfolio? Should interactive media be incorporated into the design of the portfolio? A portfolio constantly evolves, so be sure to plan the portfolio to allow for easy changes and additions. So, some things to consider. When starting out, most of the work you present will be past school projects. You have to keep in mind that people from the industry that are in your local area have seen these projects for decades from other students in the past. So they're going to be able to compare this. It's oh, I've seen this before, and then they compare it with what they've seen in the past. And if someone's better than you or done a better job, then it can be very intimidating because you're competing against past people. So it's kind of tough. I suggest that you use much out of school work as you can. This can be personal projects that you've done on your own, client work that you've accomplished already, or even completely revising a school project so that it does not appear to be what it used to be. You can really change things up, just by doing a few things. It's a good idea to set a focus. So for example, you want to be a branding specialist or a UX designer, then the bulk of your portfolio should display that. At this point, I wouldn't recommend that the entire portfolio be that, as if you live in a smaller city, agencies need to be able to do quite a lot of things and not have you just be a pro at one thing, right? So they're going to have you jump around oh, you're going to make a logo. Oh, now you're going to design a website. Oh, now we need you to design a package, etc. So if you decide to specialize your portfolio, I would make it about 60% of your work for the specialization and the rest of the portfolio showing diversity in other areas.